welcome to the first ever conference of the Children's Screen Time Action Network. I'm Josh Golin. I'm the Executive Director of the Campaign for Commercial-Free Childhood. If you're not familiar with our organization, we are a national advocacy organization based here in Boston. We educate the public about commercialism's impact on kids' well-being, and we advocate for an end to child-targeted marketing. In October, we launched the Children's Screen Time Action Network, a coalition of practitioners, educators, advocates, working to promote a healthy childhood by reducing the amount of time that kids spend with screens. At CCFC, all of our advocacy is grounded in a very simple belief. We believe that the primary influences in a child's life should be those institutions and individuals that want what's best for children. That's a pretty simple idea. I'm sure it's something that all of us in this room believe in. It shouldn't be a radical idea, but in our society, sometimes that is a pretty radical idea. And the fact of the matter is that children are spending far too much time with screens, and those screens are designed for the benefit of advertisers, not for children. Research tells us that excessive screen time and commercialism is interfering with children's healthy development. Our own observations and experience confirm that. We've all had the experience of going out to dinner and seeing a family of 4 on 4 different devices. When you talk to parents, almost every parent is dissatisfied with their family's relationship with screens and how screens are interfering with family life. When you talk to teachers, you hear that kids' dependence on digital devices is interfering with real teaching and real learning. Everybody, or just about everybody, knows that something's wrong. They're just not sure that there's anything that can be done about it. But there is. Over the next 2 days, we're going to be talking about those things. We'll talk about that we can teach families how and why to set limits, that we can demand evidence from ed tech hucksters who tell us that technology is a panacea for the real problems facing our schools. We can push tech companies to stop designing products in a way that makes it harder and harder for kids and adults to put devices down. We can fight for policies that protect children from digital surveillance and manipulative design. And we can, and we must, advocate for those screen-free experiences that children need to thrive. Creative play, time in nature, face-to-face interaction, and just time for quiet reflection. Our conference comes at a really, really exciting time. I've been doing this for 15 years, and I've never seen such excitement and a belief that we can make changes around this issue. Part of it is that we have Silicon Valley insiders stepping forward and confirming what we've always suspected, that these devices are deliberately designed in order to keep us on them as long as possible, and they're designed that way for advertisers' benefit. We are building coalitions like we never have before. One of the things that's so exciting to me is that the CCFC position, which for years kind of seemed pretty far out there, is now starting to seem much more mainstream. And it's mainstream not because we've changed. We haven't compromised our values or belief, but the world is changing. And that's really exciting, and that gives us an incredible opportunity over the next couple of days. Just to give you one example of the way the world is changing. I'm going to start with the way the world is changing in a bad way, but don't worry, this story has some good parts to it. So in December, Facebook launched Messenger Kids, the first social network for young children. We responded by sending a letter to Mark Zuckerberg, signed by 117 experts in child development and organizations that support child development. Many of the people in this room signed that letter. That letter made incredible headlines around the world and raised awareness about why social media has no place in a young child's life. 2 weeks ago, or last week actually, Mark Zuckerberg was on Capitol Hill getting grilled about the Cambridge Analytica scandal and Facebook's data collection policies. And Senator Dick Durbin read from that letter that we sent to Mark Zuckerberg and grilled him about Facebook Messenger Kids. when our concerns are being raised in the most high-profile Senate hearing of the year, that means that something is changing. A couple of things about this conference. We have designed this conference for interaction and for action. So, a couple things. I'm not particularly comfortable with things like this, but I did it, so I want you to do it too. Fill out your name card, something that you want to tell people about, and something that you want to learn about. Please do it. It will help foster conversations, help you meet a new friend. The other thing is we have a board outside putting the action in the Action Network. I came up with this idea yesterday, and Gene Rogers said to me, "Wow, that's very kumbaya." But we really want you, as you're coming up with ideas of things that you're going to do after the conference, put them up on that wall. We are extremely grateful to everyone who made this conference possible. Thanks especially to our sponsors, the Instituto Havana, the Church Communities Foundation, Matt Damon, Wheelock College, Don Daniel, the Center for College Honoring, the Cream Hill Foundation, and the PEP Parent Education Program. And a huge thanks to our speakers, many of whom have traveled through, very far to be with us today, many of whom are high-in-demand keynote speakers. Every one of them is donating their time to us today, and we really, really appreciate that. One of the most exciting things about the conference for me personally is that we're bringing people here today who are new to our work and also our longtime friends. And no one has been a friend to CCFC longer than Diane Levin. Diane helped organize the very first CCFC protest and has presented at all of 8, or this is our 9th CCFC conferences. For 18 years, she has been a go-to expert and advisor to CCFC. She is a professor of early education at Wheelock College, and her passion and expertise about the issues that we're talking about today is the reason why we're in these rooms and why Wheelock College has so generously donated the space for this conference. Diane is the author of 8 books, including Beyond Remote Control Childhood and So Sexy So Soon. Somehow, in her spare time, she managed to co-found 2 of my favorite organizations, Teachers Resisting Unhealthy Children's Entertainment and Defending the Early Years. Please join me in welcoming Diane Levin.
Well, hello everyone. It's just wonderful to see this room filled with Campaign for Commercial-Free Childhood supporters and people who really care about and are interested in these issues. Many of you I do know, many of you I don't know, but the fact that you all care about this issue is so, so important, and I think even more so in these times, as these issues tend to get lost in so much of what's happening in the world, in this country, especially today. So thank you very much. I'm really pleased to welcome the Children's Action Screen Time Network Conference here to Wheelock. I'm probably going to say Campaign for Commercial-Free Childhood Conference because that's what's in my head, because this is so much a part of the mission of CCFC, and now that it's expanding and has a new name. But it's wonderful to have you all here at Wheelock. Wheelock, which is soon to become the Wheelock College of Education and Human Development at Boston University. That will be as of June 1st. So the fact that we are having our conference here now makes it even more important. As time goes on, it seems like we're going to stay more and more the same. At the beginning, that didn't seem so things have been getting better and better, so it may very well be that we can have the next conference here, but who knows. But it has been such a pleasure to be involved in this organization. Josh has talked about some of its history, but when Susan Lynn contacted me in 2000, I think it was, to see if Wheelock and I and my other organization, Truth Teachers Resisting Unhealthy Children's Entertainment, would work with her to help organize a protest in New York City against the advertising industry's conference, at which it would be giving, well, it was the toy industry, advertising industry. If they would, they were giving the awards called the Golden Marble Awards. And those awards were for the best ads and promotional campaigns directed at children. And Susan Lynn said, will you and Wheelock help support this and help organize it so that we can make a statement and try to get a little media coverage about this terrible stuff that's going on. Good old Susan was always wonderful at coming up with the way to connect the issue to get the media involved. And we gave the Have You Lost Your Marble Awards. And we chose like the worst ad directed that could harm families, the worst ad, things like that. And we booked a little room at the hotel as well, so that while the conference was giving their awards, we could be giving our awards. And the day before the conference, the hotel told us they're sorry they didn't get the right amount of money for the deposit, so they were canceling our reservation. So someone ran to the City Hall, got us a permit to give the awards outside. We did a press release saying that the organization was banned from doing its political action, talking about what was good for children, and instead media come outside and hear what the educators and activists who care about the well-being of children have to say. And we had a huge turnout. And we were covered in the New York Times and the Washington Post, everywhere. And that was the beginning of this kind of action. I can't take a lot of credit after that. Susan Lynn really took over and worked to create this organization. And then Josh took over, kind of got very involved, so not that long afterwards, too, and many other key people. But that idea that we needed to deal with how industry exploited children and used media to do it and used technology to do it and how it was affecting children really started becoming an issue that was talked about in a way it never had been before. And that's why it is so thrilling to be here today. The CCFC has grown, expanded its scope, and looking at popular culture, thinking about many, many aspects of the well-being and development of children. It's looked at both the content of what's being marketed to children, but more and more thinking about the process. Now as we think about screen time, how much time kids spend, it's not just what they're seeing, but it's how it undermines their connection to play, how it makes play seem boring when you poke the Play-Doh and say, what does it do? When they're used to having all these buttons that do such amazing things. And so you get used to following someone else's programs instead of learning how to create your own, which is what's needed for optimal development. So I'm so glad we're here today to really pick up on this issue as CCFC continues to expand its scope and power in the world. And I do want to mention one other event that's happening today that I would have been at if I couldn't be here, and that is the National Day of Action Against Gun Violence, that's happening nationally, and I think some of us would have been there today. There are many, I don't want to make it even more depressing, but there are just so many issues that we need to take on. But in fact, what we're doing today is not unrelated to that event, because violence is used as a major marketing tool for luring children into consuming and lures boys into a kind of play that really socializes them into a culture of violence. So what we're doing here really at a deep level contributes to that event in a way that I don't think anyone else is doing as well as CCFC is. Finally, I just want to close by saying that in these times, we need CCFC more than ever. So in some ways, things may be getting better, but in some ways, the kinds of things we've been doing are under attack given the kind of political climate that we have. And we just need to make sure that we continue to work at every level of society, from children to families to schools and communities to the wider political and climate, and think about at every level how we can make this improve the quality of life for children and their families and their teachers and other professionals who care about their well-being. So thank you, CCFC, for all you have done to improve the quality of life of children and families, and I hope everybody goes away inspired from this conference to make an even bigger difference in the lives of children and families than you have before you got here. Thank you for that. Josh reminded me, I didn't put it in bold, but I should have, that there are orange ribbons out on a table right in the hallway when you go out, right next to it, near where the food was. And I have mine right here that symbolizes the event today, the violence and children day that I was talking about. Okay, so if you wear the ribbon, it's a way we can kind of stand for what's happening today, even if we can't be at the march. Thank you all very much.